Good evening and welcome to the August 2018 legislative meeting of the Borough Council. Please stand and join me in the salute of our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining us this evening. Alert viewers will notice that we have a few empty chairs this evening. Part of that is because we are in the month of August and some folks are away with family, and it's a good time to be away with family. And other folks are away because of personal matters. But we have enough here to cover all topics, and we will do so. So let's begin with approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes, and as a housekeeping matter, we'll see if we can get those approved. So for our July workshop meeting, we have a set of minutes, and do we have a motion to approve them as submitted?
So moved.
I'll take that as a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the July 2018 workshop meeting minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye. Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously. Second set of meeting minutes is for our legislative meeting. It seems such a short time ago. Do I hear a motion to approve those meeting minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
There is a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the July 2018 council meeting minutes for our legislative session, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously. Before we get to public comment and privilege of the floor, it is my duty to inform you that before this meeting, we held executive session and we discussed a litigation matter involving a lawsuit that had been brought against the Borough Media by the Broomos Lake Country Club. All right, so now we have the opportunity for public comment and the privilege of the floor. If there's anyone here who is present who wishes to address council, please come to the microphone and tell us who you are, where you live, and what's on your mind. There appear to be no takers tonight, so we will move along. The engineer's report, Mr. Mattson, if you can give us your usual report, as well as if you can give us a summary of the brief public hearing we had before tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just two updates from engineering. The first of which is that the 2018 road program is completed. We still have not received an invoice from the contractor. There were a few punch list items that we were working with coordination with Public Works to have completed, and as the invoice comes in, we'll have it processed. The second one is we have received some initial cut sheets from the contractor for the Veterans Square Garden project for the improvements in that area. The contract has not yet been fully executed. We were anticipating some additional documents to come in. I would have liked to have had them tonight for signature. They didn't come in tonight. I was hopeful that they would. As soon as they come in, I will present them to the borough staff so that we can get the signatures and move that project on.
Very well.
And then lastly, sort of a recap of tonight's public hearing. The MS4 program, which is the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Program, requires that the borough submit a pollutant reduction program. In September, we submitted the first draft to the DEP as well as all the other municipalities in Pennsylvania, or at least in this area. We received comments and feedback. We met with the DEP. We revised the plan to show some expanded infrastructure. The full plan is available on the borough's website, and the comment period is still open. If the residents at this moment would like to take a look at it and submit comments, they can feel free. Very simply, we are showing some improvements to reduce sediment throughout town. So the DEP is of the belief that sediment or natural silt is getting into our waterway system and then causing some issues with aquatic life and waterways. It's the same issue that all the municipalities in this region are facing. We're not alone. We're not being singled out. So it's not that the community is being punished. We are just hand in hand with the bulk of the communities and surrounding counties. So with that, there are some additional measures to remove silt and remove sediment throughout town, including the expanded street sweeping program, the installation of some facilities throughout the borough, including the hydrodynamic separator, which removes silt. It's a physical piece of equipment which removes silt. And we also are very fortunate because as we've developed our plan, we have successfully won some grants, which will move to install facilities throughout town, and we've been able to get credit for that with the DEP. So good fortune has brought us some grants, which also goes to provide some savings to our residents for the reduction of pollutants. So tonight, the public comment period is still open. It will close at midnight. We will update the plan pending any further commentary and submit the final draft to the DEP on August 31st.
Thank you, Mr. Mattson. Does anyone on council have any questions for the engineer at this time? Hearing none, we'll move along to the solicitor's report. Bob Scott, who usually sits in the solicitor's chair, is not present tonight, and in his place is Nusrat Rashid, and we welcome her to our council meeting. Ms. Rashid, do you have anything to report at this time?
There is no report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Rashid?
She hopes not.
All righty then. We'll move along to the mayor for his report. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, let's see. During the month of July, the police department handled 674 complaints. There was one burglary so far in the month of August, and the brief synopsis is, I'm going to read it. On Saturday, August 4 at 6:30 p.m., a resident in the 100 block of North Lemon encountered a burglar on the second floor of their home. This individual, identified as 31-year-old Chester resident Robert Lee Cruz Chapel, fled when confronted by the resident with a jar of change. Immediate police, with the assistance of numerous other departments, were able to pursue the actor through several blocks and wooded creek areas for nearly 1 hour to capturing him. Cruz Chapel was still in possession of $52 in quarters when arrested. During the chase and through several wooded areas in the neighborhoods, the suspect stole 2 bicycles over the course of an hour, which were recovered and ultimately returned to the owners in that area. His criminal history includes theft, assault, and related crimes. He is 5'5", 150 pounds, and goes by several names, and there were several departments that joined in this effort, and of course he was captured. Also, we did start our economic development effort on the restaurants, the theater, and retail. And Tommy and Me, the Media Theater, was the focus of it. And the theater opened, the play opened last week. We had the Eagles rally. We had a lot of publicity on television. About 920,000 people were able to see parts of it, as long as they watched every station and every broadcast of it, they will see it. But that was the total amount of people. Publicity in the paper helped, and the theater was sold out again last night. Now, one thing we know is that the overwhelming majority of people that came to the show last night and the first Wednesday night did go to Dining Under the Stars. And the way we know that is very few cars pulled up in front of the Media Theater and dropped people off. Very few were used by the ballet. There weren't that many cars parked in that area, like from 7:45 on, which is usually the time people go to the theater. And you could see literally hundreds of people walking down from Dining Under the Stars to partake in seeing the show. So we also have a PR element to this that we've been trying to do. And that PR element is basically taking the TV, taking everything, and storing it for future events. We've expanded it to include other things other than the theater and Dining Under the Stars, etc. We've also expanded to other groups. For instance, the Fellowship House. I'm saying this with Susan sitting there, but the Fellowship House and Sam London's presentation, we advertise that to Channel 6, Channel 3, and Channel 10. We plan to do that with all their events. July 4th, we advertised. Channel 6 showed up. The idea is for all these events, including the Media Arts Council, that we get a portfolio of TV spots, and before an event the following year or another parade or whatever, we would be able to use that in what we send out. Am I explaining this correctly, Lisa? Yes. Okay. I don't know how many we've collected so far, but every event we're trying to help other people, because if they come to an event media, no matter what it is, more than likely they're going to dine, they're going to go to a shop. So it's trying to take it one step further than just the theater. It's everything. We're going to involve the museum in it too, and again, every other element that has anything for it. You want to add to that? Oh, you will when it's your turn?
Oh, yes. Well, one other group of, that's going to participate is the nonprofits
Yeah.
in our town too. A lot of interest of hooking up our for-profit businesses with our nonprofits, because they too draw in people that want to do both. So that's another aspect of luring people into media.
I would prefer that you not use the word.
Coaxing.
So I just wanted to update everybody on that, and we'll learn like more ways of doing things as we go along, and so that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does anyone have any questions for the mayor? Hearing none, we'll move into the council committee reports. We will start, as is our usual approach, with Properties, Public Works, and Fire. Councilman Robinson.
Good evening. I will try to keep this short so we can get home and maybe watch some of the Eagles game. First on my agenda is ordinance 1131 of 2018. It is for easements for a second left-hand turn on Providence Road. For those of you who have been following the Wawa story at Baltimore and Providence Road, one of the conditions was that we were to install, or we are going to install, through the property owner, a second left-hand turn that would be taking individuals towards Springfield from Providence Road. With that, we are required to obtain a temporary easement as well as a permanent easement. And this ordinance is what will allow us to move forward and provide the documentation and the requirements for our solicitor's office to proceed. So I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 1131 of 2018.
Motion's been made. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
I just have one question. So that's just one extra lane for...
Correct. We have an existing left-hand lane now. This will provide a second left-hand lane with the idea that it will widen the throat to allow more cars to make that left-hand turn. I think I know where you might be coming from, because we will still have that headache of someone trying to make a left-hand turn into the shopping center. But at least now there will be a second lane to allow some traffic to continue instead of completely stopping it.
Okay.
So we might have to address that shopping center lane sometime in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of adopting ordinance number 1131 of 2018. This is with regard to easements for a second left-hand turn lane on southbound Providence Road. Please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and second on my agenda this evening is amending our MS pollutant reduction plan. Our engineer gave a great overview of our requirements. We have done this before, so this is kind of like a deja vu all over again, but DEP is required and requiring us to modify or amend and update our plan. I think this is something that's a great idea. It's something that that not just Borough, but all the other municipalities will be required to do. Before I make this motion, I'm also going to encourage our residents, because I have noticed, and Public Works has made comment to me, that what we're seeing, which is disturbing to me, is more of our residents placing grass clippings, minor brush clippings, and just throwing them onto the curb with the anticipation that either A, Mother Nature will take it away, and or that our highway department is a cleanup crew. We do have the ability that if you bag your grass clippings, we'll be happy to take them away. If you bag your tree trimmings, and or either cut them into 3-foot sections and bind them with twine, our highway department will be happy to take them away. But simply brushing them off into the street and or throwing branches into the street is not what we're looking to do, and I think would significantly add to the pollutants, and exactly what we're trying to resolve with the MS4. So with me going on, I make a motion that we authorize and amend the changes, or the changes that have been provided this evening for MS reduction pollutant plan.
There is a motion to adopt the amended MS4 for pollution reduction plan as outlined by the borough engineer earlier this evening, and I believe there is a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion concerning the motion? Hearing no call for discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
And last on the agenda is the authorization of the Public Works to get rid of some older equipment. I do not have a list. Do you have a list, Jack? We're just going to put it up, and here, you don't have to give me the
Just a
whole.
leaf vac and a 2001 dump truck.
Okay.
And we go on the municipal bid as council has authorized.
It's an old leaf vac machine as well as a 16-year-old dump truck in which we keep our equipment until it has been completely used up. We are now using Municipid, which has become a very viable source for all municipalities in Pennsylvania. So I make a motion, we authorize, I'm assuming our manager and Public Works Director to advertise this equipment on Municipid.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There is. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of authorizing the sale of Public Works equipment, a leaf vacuum and a dump truck, on Municipid, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Robinson. Does anyone have any questions for Councilman Robinson? Hearing none, we'll move along to NBA, Historic, Public Safety, and Civil Service. That is Councilwoman Lisa Johnson.
Thank you. The Historic Media's Historic Society does not meet in August, so I have a report from that. Public Safety will meet next week, so I have no report yet. And Civil Service met this week, and they're working on the hiring of 2 full-time officers from our part-time group of officers, as well as the promotion of one of our officers to sergeant. So that's in the works. And the MBA, the announcement I have for them is that to remind you about Super Sunday, which happens on September 9th, which is the Saturday after Sunday, Super Sunday. It's the Sunday after Labor Day, and the rain date is the 16th. So now I'll go to my agenda items. The first one is more of a housekeeping item. It's ordinance number 1132, amendments to the police drop ordinance. This is because the union, the police officers union, negotiated with the borough some changes, and so we have to make sure that the program matches, the ordinance will match what was agreed upon. So this is a housekeeping item for this ordinance number 1132. DROP means Deferred Retirement Option Plan, for those of you that don't know that acronym. So I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1132 of 2008, which is amendments to the police drop ordinance.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded as to ordinance 1132 of 2018. Unless there's any call for discussion, there appears not to be. I will call the question. All those in favor of adopting ordinance number 1132 of 2018 with regard to amendments to the police drop ordinance, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Items number 2 and 3, I'm going to postpone until our workshop meeting, until all council members are here to participate in that discussion.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is a mass gathering permit application for Media Elementary School's annual back-to-school potluck supper. This is done each year to welcome the children back to school. And this is going to happen on Friday, September 14th, between 4:15 and 8:30 p.m., just outside of the school. I guess they do it in the street as well as Borough.
They do.
Yeah, they shut down.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve this mass gathering permit.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor approval of the mass gathering permit application for the elementary school's annual back-to-school potluck supper, Friday, September 14th, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 5 is an amendment to a mass gathering permit that we approved earlier. It's a community block party. You might know it better as the festivities that happen around the Christmas parade that's been happening for several years now. They call it the Fun Run and the Santa Parade. They'd like to change the location from state to front. That's the block that was closed. Now they'd like to close state on Veterans Square down to Baker. And so that's the request from the
I'll second that. It's just really they're moving from the north side of State Street to the south side of State Street.
That's right. That's easier said, yes.
All right, the motion is made and it's already been seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
Well, the only concern that Peter brought up, and he's not here tonight, but he brought it up in the workshop, is that that's the block that might have construction going on at the time with the new garden area, the Veterans Square, so there could be, complexity there. So the organizers of the event will have to take that into consideration. I'm sure it's workable.
Are we shutting it? I haven't heard that we're shutting down Veterans Square during that construction. So I mean, if they're using, excuse me, if construction work is being done on the sidewalk where the new facility would be, then that would be fine. I think they just
They could have equipment in the street, and it's just something Peter thought of. They wanted the organizers to be aware.
We wouldn't have equipment be sitting there on a regular basis. So they might have equipment there while they're using it, but they're not going to have equipment sitting there. So
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. It's just something to think about.
So we don't know what we don't know. It's possible that there will be construction equipment that is present, whether or not it's being used at the time.
Mr. President, if
Yes.
I may, what I'd like to do is add this to the agenda for the pre-construction meeting that will be coming up. So as we coordinate with the contractor, they're aware of this mass gathering permit, and then we talk about, in the event that they need to place equipment anywhere, if there's sensitivity to this and that.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Might I suggest this, that rather than changing the location from one stretch of Veterans Square to another, that we simply add the section from the state on down to Baker Street, with the understanding that as conditions permit, that they would use the one side versus the other side. But just in case, for whatever reason, the south side's not available, they still have the mass gathering permit for Jasper, or front on down to State Street.
that's a good idea.
Would State Street be closed?
Right. It would either be State North to front, or as they've now applied, south of State Street to Baker, one or the other.
Okay.
So does the maker of the motion accept that amendment?
Yeah.
And the seconder?
Yep.
All right. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the amended mass gathering permit application as outlined by Councilwoman Lisa Johnson, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the last item is another amended mass gathering permit we had approved earlier called Open Streets Event. This is a new event, and that's why there's been some amendments, because as the organizers think about things, they change their mind about things, and that's normal. This was just submitted a week or so ago. Oh no, this week. And I read the different permits. I don't see a lot of difference, except they added a rain date from September 29th is the event, but rain date is September 30th. And they also said, since this is a media borough sponsored event, they requested the use of the borough logo and the use of Linda Rudy's services. So, Jeff, are you aware about them wanting to use Linda Rudy's services?
Council discussed it at workshop and decided that is okay? I don't.
We did, yeah, I don't think that's part of the mass gathering permit amendment.
No, that's what's been added on this document.
And it looks like they just did the event stop time. Originally it was 1 o'clock and they're now proposing 1:30. So I don't know if you just want to note that as well.
Okay.
And then the rain date is.
I have 3 documents actually. So 2 will say 1:30. Okay.
I think the original is the one that had 1 o'clock.
Oh, it had 1 o'clock, right, I do see this. Now, I see three different pieces of information around vendors or food trucks. This final one doesn't have anything referencing that. The first one had 10 to 15 vendors, the next one has 4 to 5 food trucks, this one has nothing.
When's our September council meetings, what date?
Pretty late.
It's a little awful late for them, but.
Yeah,
Well,
20th, I'm sorry,
Sure
20th.
seems like,
We can discuss and we can take a sense of council at our next workshop meeting. And I think that would be sufficient time if we have any questions to get those questions ironed out.
The other 2 items for consideration, I think, is one thing it says here is closing the streets on the route is part of this request, using half of the borough parking lot, and Glen Providence Park parking, which I don't think we can say that, right? That's the county has to give them permission for that, so we'll instruct them to do that. On the other item is the fact that 3rd Street is on their route, and the fact now that Orange Street is shut down, there could be a concern, police chief, mentioned this, that he thought there could be some congestion problems, going south on 3rd Street, going south on Orange and turning right on 3rd. That's right where the road closes. So there could be a problem. We're talking about a Saturday, closing the streets. I don't know that it's...
So do you want to hold up on this?
Well,
I think there's a lot of questions.
there's still a lot of questions, but truly, the only thing they want to amend on here is this event stop time and the rain date.
Well, the question, and again, the rain date is a Sunday.
Right.
And I don't have the streets memorized. Are they going to be hindering any of our churches if it's a rain date on Sunday?
Jackson Street at Providence to 3rd to west. So we...
Jackson Street, 3rd, that's one church. 3rd Street to west,
That's
that's
another church.
another church, 2 churches there.
Yeah.
So there's a church here and then AME at Olive and 3rd. So I think somebody, whoever's acting as liaison with them, needs to come back and chat with them, because you can't close down those streets on Sunday.
All right, well, they do have an approved mass gathering permit, do they not, Mr. Smith?
For Saturday,
For Saturday. So the event is going to happen.
yes.
I think that what we need to do is iron out some details, and we can do that at our workshop.
Correct.
But you want me to tell them that they can't do Sunday, that their rain day would have to be the following Saturday? Is that good guidance?
I think that would be a good suggestion, personally.
And they're looking at September 1?
September 29th is approved, and that's a Saturday. They wanted the rain day to be the next day, Sunday.
I was just thinking it's going to be October, and I was figure out when.
Food Festival,
Is October 7th.
October 7th.
Well, with
Which is a Sunday.
with Councilman Robinson's comments in mind, I think it makes sense to talk to the group and see whether or not they consider on the rain day a different route, so as to avoid,
Either a different route or another Saturday.
Right.
or another side.
Yes, okay.
And it would be helpful, like you're saying, just to get everything together. Like you were saying, one says food trucks, the other one doesn't, this and that, just so we
Well,
know what we're...
Yeah, and it's just evolving because it's a brand-new event, and so they're learning a lot. So things are changing constantly. So I'll report back to them. So So we'll take that one off the table. So that's the end of my agenda.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Councilwoman Johnson? Hearing none, Fair Trade Farmers Market, Shade Tree, and Environmental Advisory Council, those topics are usually covered by Amy Johnson, who is not present this evening, and she does not have anything for legislative action. So we will move into Community Development, Historical Architecture Review Board, and Media Arts Council. As well, do not have anything for legislative action, although I do have a couple of announcements. The first of which is a recurring announcement, which is the borough now has a e-newsletter. This comes out the week following our legislative session, so next week will be the August edition, and it's a wonderful source for information about things going on in the borough, things that will be coming up in the borough, the items that we've taken legislative action about, planning items that are coming along, excuse me, as well as information about events and contact information as well. And all you need to do to get this wonderful source of information every month is simply provide us with your name and an email address. You can do that on our website. You can do that on our Facebook page. I've never visited the Facebook page because I don't have a Facebook account, but I understand that it works very well. Do we also have any other social media? Excuse me.
Twitter.
Twitter. So if you use Twitter, you can access the information there as well and sign up for the e-newsletter and be in the know. The second item, it involves something that I think all of us are aware of. It's just been referenced, the closure of the county garage at Orange Street. Orange Street is closed between front end of Third Street. And it appears that it's going to be closed for some time, as well as is Citron Street, which runs parallel to Orange Street on the other side of the county garage facility. There is a structural problem involving the county garage. It looks like it is a significant enough structural problem that the county is considering demolishing the structure. That whole process is going to take quite some time. It is a very involved process that involves designing a plan to demolish the existing garage and then thinking about what will replace it. So we do not have any concrete part of the plan. We do not have any firm information concerning a timeline on this. The borough is in close contact with the county to learn of its plan so that we can communicate that information to you as best we can. At the present time, the best source of information appears to be the county itself, since it is the county garage. We are hopeful that in the next week or so, we will get some more information that we can pass along to you. And in the meantime, it is our intention to work as well as we can with the county, because this is going to put parking pressures as well as traffic pressures on all of us on a daily basis. And we're kind of all in this together. So we're going to do our best to support the county in its efforts. As we learn more, we will pass that along to you. Again, the e-newsletter, as well as the Borough Facebook page, and what was the other one? The Twitter. Those are also excellent places to get updated information. And you'll probably get the information more quickly than if you rely on us every month at this meeting to get it to you. You should get that information more quickly by those other electronic means. So that's all I have to offer this evening on my portion of the agenda. Unless there are any questions for me, we'll move along to Kevin Boyer's section of the agenda, which is Recreation and Board of Health. And there is a legislative item there, and Councilwoman Sarah Dixon, I believe, is prepared to deliver that.
Yes, I move to adopt the resolution to appoint Dan White to the Recreation Board, fill a term expiring December 31st, 2019.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There is a second. Is there any discussion?
I was not able to make workshops. Was that discussed at workshop?
Yes, it was. Yes. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor of adopting the resolution to appoint Dan White, a Borough resident, to the Recreation Board to fill the term expiring the end of 2019, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. I commend Councilwoman Dixon for her very direct articulation of the motion. We'll move on then to Finance and Library. Those are Councilman Peter Williamson's portion of the agenda, but Peter is not here tonight. Councilwoman Lisa Johnson has agreed to cover his portion of the agenda.
Thank you. First off, we need to approve the payment of our bills for the month of July. We had $252,018.36 from the general fund, $16,710.01 from the recreation fund, nothing from the liquid fuels fund, and $16,094.15 from the capital fund. Make a motion to approve our bills, or ratify our bills.
So what's the total?
$284,822.52.
I so move that we pay $284,822.52.
Well, we've got two motions, and I'll take the second as a second. Is there any discussion about the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of payment of the borough's bills for the month of July 2018 in the amount as specified by both Councilwoman Lisa Johnson and Councilman Sarah Dixon, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, that was good. Okay, so now here's another one. This is Resolution 2018-38, and we do this every year in mid-year, August, and it's just kind of tweaking our budget that we approved in the beginning of the year. And without boring you with every line item, there's about 22 line items, which isn't very many, there's hundreds in the budget. There's only 22 that we're going to tweak. The two biggest ones I want to mention are both in the revenue side, the money coming into the borough. The real estate transfer tax is coming in much higher than we had budgeted. And that's due mostly, we tend to be conservative in our budget, and that's due mostly to the many new residents in media, specifically West End Walk. We also have, the West End Walk. So we upped that from a budget of $175,000 to $270,000 to be that's expected for this year in the real estate transfer tax. However, on the opposite side, our building permit revenues, we were a little optimistic to $200,000 to come in, but we're adjusting that downward to $100,000. Some of the money that we had budgeted was actually collected last year, and there's just not as much building permits activity as we anticipated in this calendar year. So those two virtually offset each other. The other items are very small, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, those kinds of things. I'll just give you an example. Legal services went from 10,000 to 15,000. Those little kind of tweaks is what we do. And this is on a $10 million budget. So I make a motion to pass Resolution 2018-38, our mid-year budget update.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2018-38, our mid-year budget update, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and since I forgot to say something in my last,
Stop.
I'm taking advantage of Peter's time.
You get taxis here, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention a couple things around our economic development efforts. There is what the mayor had been talking about, Tommy and Me's show at the theater. There is a Facebook event being created, or it might be on Facebook already. I don't use Facebook, so I don't know. But it's a an attempt to get people to do a show and a meal and shop while they're in town. So it's trying to bring the various things together and get people to do more than one thing in media while they're here. We're also working with West End Flats, which is the new building about to open, grand opening very, very, very soon. They actually have, I think, 6 residents actually living in there right now. But working with them to make a welcome wagon or a basket kind of thing, remember those things in the olden days? To welcome people living there to media and having, information and coupons and calendars and things like that, information mostly, of all the activities that go on in media from our shops and our restaurants and our nonprofits, and even the borough is going to participate and put some information in there as well. We're also working with the county on having the jurors who come in and work in our courts to spend more time and get to know media while they're here. And the last thing is the Hampton Inn is finally opening after years and years and years of talking about that project. They're actually finally opening. They'll have an official grand opening soon, but they're even talking about having a jitney go from the Hampton Inn through town to drop people off from the Hampton to various places in media. So it's exciting. There's a lot of coordination going on. So it's all in the name of new economic development efforts. So I wanted to mention that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. And we welcome the Hampton. It's been almost 12 years. It's actually been 12 years to the month. Yes, 12 years to the month when they first came to the borough with a proposal for a hotel.
It looks really good from the outside. And I was wondering, when is actually now? When is the official?
I don't know an exact date for the official ribbon cutting, but they're going to open and start to do business, if not now, soon, like tomorrow. What's that?
When you go online, it says opening soon.
Yeah, it's really soon.
Yeah, they've received their certificate of occupancy from the borough. As I understand it, they need approval from the Hilton Corporation, which owns the Hampton chain, before they're able officially to open. So we hope that is soon. In that gift basket, let's send reminders to the new residents to sign up for the e-newsletter.
Right.
It's a great source of information.
I tend to think the vast majority of the residents of the West End flats will be e-newsletter kind of people.
I think you're right.
Yep. Probably.
They might even use Facebook.
Or Twitter.
Hey.
I don't.
I don't either.
Excellent. All right, so we'll move along to Personnel, Public Relations, and Historical Archives. Councilwoman Sarah Dixon, we're back at
We're going to go through this rather quickly. We're still talking about publicity in a sense. Everybody got a chance to see this front page about the Eagles, but what is also interesting is that a whole page on dining under the stars. But there's something that you probably did not notice. It talks about media also, and that's the unifying group for media. They stand united. Media Borough comes together to help children. Whole page on that. When I also was reading through and I said, oh my gosh, employees of Results Repeat in media receive the best places to work in a small business by the Philadelphia Business Journal, and that was in the newspaper. So besides Yuki Washington mentioning us several times a day, as a good place to be this summer, there's still lots of print saying that media is a wonderful place to visit. And the other thing I want to cover is important. The Personnel Committee, with the approval of Council, is pleased to announce the promotion of Jim Seaman to full-time project manager. Jim has proven to be a right hand to Jeff in the last 6 months, and he's wonderful. There you go.
And that's in the form of a motion, right?
Yes.
Second.
Excellent, and it has been seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Jim will be truly a tremendous asset to the borough, and I am amazed that our borough manager will finally sit there and recognize that sometimes he could use some help once in a while.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a big, big plus. There's a lot of projects that Jeff has on his plate that he just can't get to because there's not, there's only 24 hours in a day, and he does sleep for one or two of those. So I think this is going to be a tremendous help for us. I think a lot of projects that have been sitting on the back burner are going to get moved forward and get done, so I'm excited.
All right, excellent. All those in favor
Aye.
of approving? I see that we have at least one enthusiastic member of council. I'm predicting your vote as a no. All those in favor of hiring Jim Seaman as a project manager for finance on a full-time basis, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously. Anything else, Councilman Dixon?
No.
Okay, excellent. We have, I believe, another item that the mayor would like to share with us. I believe it's a proclamation.
Yes, I have a proclamation I am presenting tomorrow as a surprise to someone who's here on Wednesday. And then hopefully she's not watching tonight. I thought she was. But it is a DJ whose 25th year of rocking the airwaves at 102.9 WMGK, whoever that may be. The proclamation will be presented at table 24. Tap. Actually, I was in there last night. You would think I would remember since last night. But I wasn't. So anyway, she participates in a lot of events in the media. Every time we have something, she seems to be there. She's been very supportive for her 25 years. Her first name is Debbie. I won't give her last name in case she's watching, and that would help her figure out that we're doing this tomorrow. So I'll leave it at that. Anybody that needs her last name, I will tell you that it's Calvin, but I won't.
All right, well, we keep the mystery intact.
What time is that?
I am going over there around 3 o'clock, 3 to 4. They're there most of the afternoon, but the presentation will be between 3 and 4, and I'll probably get there in the early Saturday.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now we have our bookend opportunity for anyone in the public who wishes to do so to come forward and let us know what's on the line.
Good evening, I'm Sandy Leocoris. I live at 222 North Orange Street, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. It's my first meeting. I've recently moved to media and enjoying the ability to walk right from my townhouse. I go home to all the wonderful restaurants and events. That said, I would like to say, with all the new folks moving into media, the West End flats you've mentioned, I think it might be nice to give an opportunity to have some more open space for all these people to enjoy when they come to media. And so I know this is just thinking outside the box, but when you have a parking garage that's falling down and about to, I heard the kaboom in the middle of the night a couple weeks ago, and I looked, I thought maybe they hit my car, but it wasn't. And that next day I realized that it was the parking, something fell in the parking garage. So my idea is, instead of putting a new parking garage in that space, have an open space. Have a place where you can have food truck events, that you don't have to close streets to have a food truck. Like you're talking about your open streets event. Have a playground, more playgrounds there. Have places you can have concerts. The farmer's market. Right now, the farmer's market used to be by the theater, and then that wasn't there. Last summer, there was no farmer's market. This year, the farmer's market was on a Sunday on a street by the elementary school. I don't think you have as much exposure. So my idea is to have more exposure for great events in media. And I think that having more open space in media would be a solution. Would bring you to that goal. It would be good for everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Leocoris.
You're welcome.
The concept of open space, I think, is a relative one in media, which is 3/4 of a mile square. The open space might seem relatively cramped by larger municipality standards. But the good news is that the borough has committed itself over the past number of years, and you'll see this in our planning documents, to investigating the possibility of creating more open space, and to that end, looking for opportunities for smaller sized parks, because that's what works in media given its scale. And over the past year, we have opened a small little pocket park on Manchester Avenue, right opposite Tiny T's, right behind the Getty Station. You'll see it there. It's small, but I think that it's going to be a gem. And then at 5th and Broomall Streets, the borough purchased some property last year, and we have been working towards a design, which I think that we have a final design, and we're looking for additional grant money to construct a park there. So I hear you. I think that open space is something that, in a very densely populated community, it's something that people prize, and we're working towards there. But a good suggestion. Thank you. And there's no one else here to offer public comment, so I'm not going to invite anybody else. No, thank you for joining us. So before we adjourn, again, I'd like to say thank you to Nusrat Rashid for pinch hitting for Bob Scott. Hope to see you again in the future.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Good night, folks. See you next month.